Good morning and welcome to Sustainable Smallholding France, where today we're going to just look at the different methods of buying a property in England and Wales, Scotland, and here in France. Now, I have bought property in all of the above, so I just want to give you some hints and tips that you need to know in order to make a really good deal when you're negotiating to buy a property. So if we start with England and Wales first, England and Wales have a different conveyancing system than in Scotland because Scottish law is different from English law. Now, in England, you can make an offer for a property which will be done through your solicitor, occasionally through your estate agent if they also have a solicitor who works for them and who is prepared to do that work for you. To keep the costs reasonable and so that you know what you are paying, because you only have a certain pot of money to make your purchase, first of all, find out what your solicitor's fee will be for a purchase. If you're also selling a property previously, you need to take that into account as well. They might want to sell your property for you and give you a deal, but you'll need to negotiate that with them. You can also make an offer that is subject to contract and survey in England and Wales. Now, personally, I would never buy a property unless I was absolutely sure about the state of the place. Now, having an offer that is subject to contract gives you a little bit of leeway and allows you to pull out of the sale before you've exchanged the final money. But having a survey, and if you're going for a mortgage, most mortgage lenders will insist on a survey or home report or whatever, but it is in your interest to get that done. If you then feel that the details revealed on that survey are inadequate, you can get a specialist to come and have a look. For example, if the property has flat roofs, you'll want a flat roof specialist to come and ascertain the condition of that and whether and when it will need work done. So in Scotland, there is a different conveyancing system because Scottish law is different from English law, and most properties will either be listed as fixed price or offers over. Now, the Scottish property market is pretty buoyant and properties don't hang around on the market long. And as such, you need to be absolutely sure of your facts before you try and negotiate a deal. So, when you go to visit a property, if you're interested in it, they should either have there and then a home report on that property, and if not, they must give you it within 9 days of you requesting that. You can then go through this, take it to your solicitor if you want and discuss it with them, and then you can make an offer that. So you can put an offer in that is subject to survey, and when that survey comes back to you, if there is something on that you're not happy with, you can then either withdraw from any further negotiation on that property, or you can use it as a negotiating tool. Now, personally, as a seller, if somebody had said, well, we want a new kitchen or we want a new bathroom, I'm not interested. That's a decorative choice. However, if the survey had revealed something structurally unsound, for example, if there was work required to a flat roof because of leaking, or the chimney was unsafe, or the units in the double glazing had popped, I would be willing to negotiate on the property price with that. So you need to talk this through with your solicitor and move on from there. So before we go any further, I just want to ask if you would take 2 minutes of your time and just like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much. So in the UK, you can see the buying process is, apart from a few little tweaks, it is pretty standardised. The amount of time that it takes has risen since COVID, and what used to take a period of between 8 weeks to 12 weeks can now take considerably longer. So bear that in mind when you're purchasing a property. You'll also have to have any monies ready for a deposit in England and Wales. They don't do a deposit system in Scotland. You have to wait until the contracts are exchanged and the money is paid at the end, there and then. The buying process is considerably different in France, although it does have some sections that are quite similar to Scottish law. So you go and you view a property normally with an immobilier, which is the French equivalent to an estate agent, and they deal with the initial negotiation side of the purchase. After that, when an offer has been accepted and is acceptable to both sides, to the buyer and the seller, then the notaire takes over and he is appointed and works for the state. Basically, he's a tax collector. He wants to make sure that the state is getting their cut of fees. And he's not working for you. He's not working for the seller. So some people use the same notaire as a seller and a buyer. When I lived in a different part of France, I used a notaire there to buy that property initially when I moved from the UK, and I also used them when I sold that property and bought the property that I'm currently in. Okay, so just a wee bit more about the French property process. So you will negotiate with the estate agent who is working for the seller and working for himself. Now, the reason why I emphasise that is that in France, the fees that the immobilier charge are substantially more than what they charge in the UK. Normally between 5 and 8, sometimes 9%. And to be quite frank, a lot of them don't actually earn that. So just be aware of what the immobilier is charging the seller. So I've made a few notes which are on the next screen, but there is room for negotiation. What I think you need to be aware of is the area that you are looking to purchase in. Is the property market buoyant? Are properties moving fast? Also, are there more people looking to buy than there are actual houses on the market now? Anybody who's looking seriously at buying a property in France, you will notice that the same properties seem to appear on every estate agent's website. So just be aware of that. And when you go to arrange a visit, you'll normally have to sign a disclosure form. That means that if you then go with a different estate agent, you will still have to, pay a percentage of the sale price to that estate agent because he has originally shown you around. So just be aware. There is room for negotiation. What you need to do is define how you are going to negotiate, whether the property has been on the market a long time, and I mean typically over a year. Whether there are structural works that have to be done, and again, take your pen and paper round with you when you're going round a property. Have a look at the village or the locale that it is in. Go to the mayor's office, that's the local mayor, If you can speak a little bit of French, then you can find out a lot of information. Some mairies in touristy areas will have someone in the office there who speaks some English, and it's quite helpful to get the lowdown. We looked at a property and it was only when we went to the Mary's office and when we mentioned the name of the property, it transpired that it was a flood risk area and the Mary had to send a boat out to save the occupants of the house when the house flooded, as it does every winter. Mm, lesson to the wise. So, French property, I would be negotiating down on the price, and you can try anything between 5 and 10% as a kind of rule. Um, if there is any furniture or white goods and are not mentioned in the schedule, ask about them. You could buy them separately and they can be listed in the sale as movable items, as furniture. This can also include grass cutting tractors, agricultural machinery, and you can offset that against the tax. So, do a wee bit of reading up on French law. Personally, when I bought my first property in France, I used a French English solicitor who was based in Bordeaux. It was invaluable, and we found out lots of information that had to be rectified in the contract of the sale before we agreed to it. So it's not money that's badly spent. Do your homework and remember that any property purchase is a risk, and if you're buying in a foreign country where you're unsure of the language, it might be worth your while, certainly at the notair's office, of having a translator with you.